Good afternoon, dear colleagues and friends. And we're happy to welcome you on our today's webinar and to see a lot of you friends today. We're going to talk about Finereader and how to create Word documents with a proper layout, which are translation friendly, and how to format them properly before translation in order to avoid excessive text, incorrect segmentation, partially invisible text, and other disappointing issues. And while we are waiting for the rest of the audience, please type any signs so I will be able to know you hear me well. I can see that you hear me. So we are broadcasting all our webinars on YouTube and Facebook at the same time. You can join us there and follow our official Facebook page. You can see the link in your chat window now. We really appreciate your feedbacks, so you're welcome to share, like, or comment on our videos. And of course, we are happy to invite all of your friends to our huge event this summer, UTICamp 2019. It will take place on July 22nd, 28th, a whole week of presentation and workshops on translation industry trends, open-air networking in a pine forest on a riverbank. In order not to miss all news about the upcoming conference, join our Facebook event. You can see a link in the chat window now too. You can register at an affordable price till June 1st, so submit your applications as soon as possible. Visiting UTICamp 2019 is a good reason to take part in the biggest event in Ukraine and combine conference participation with a family vacation or work. Listen to the presentation by translation industry experts and simply get some reboot. Visit our website and apply as a participant. We have 150 participants already, so join this company now. And of course, I have to tell you that we have our program published on our website. We selected the most enthusiastic and prominent speakers so that you can receive as much as possible useful information. And we would like to thank people and companies who make this event possible. Translation companies Language Solutions Pro, Logos Global, Logos IT, NIMSI Insights, T-Service, Linguistic Center, Proscom, Gala, Multilingual, and our media partners and exhibitors. And of course, in case if you are interested in supporting UTICamp 2019 too, you can find all sponsorship opportunities on our website in sponsor section. And today's meeting is going to be hosted by me, Irina Vizer, UTICamp CMO. And now let me introduce our speaker, Stanislav Ochvot. His work in technical translation and DTP brought him to develop TransTool and TransTool Plus, translation productivity software designed for processing Word, Excel, and PowerPoint documents before and after translation, quickly assurance, translation of AutoCAD and visual drawings, and automation of other translation tasks. Now it's time for me to turn it over to our guest. But before I do that, I want to ask all of our attendees to send questions in the chat window, and I will ask them at the end of the presentation. Hello, Stanislav, how are you?
Hello, Irina, and thank you very much for the great introduction. And of course, thank you very much for hosting this webinar. First of all, I should say that I'm very excited to be here today and have this chance to talk with you about converting PDF files to Word documents. I feel that I have a lot of things to share, and this will be very useful in your work. In translation, PDF is a very common format, and I'm sure that all of you worked with this format before. Personally, I have worked with PDFs since I started working as a technical translator about 15 years ago. While still working as an in-house technical translator, I started developing Trane Tools, a suite of productivity tools that help freelance translators and LSPs format and edit documents before and after translation in CAT tools. Currently, I also work with this format as a DTP specialist. Today, I will tell you how to convert PDF files to Microsoft Word documents that are easy to translate in a CAT tool that require little time for formatting before submission to the customer, and what is very important, that can be edited by the customer after translation, because there are documents that cannot be edited after you translate them, really, and this is what occurs if you don't do it properly. I will explain how to avoid common mistakes and how to resolve the difficulties that arise during this process. At the end of the webinar, I will share a step-by-step workflow and a detailed brochure which you can refer to as you convert PDF documents in the future. And the link to those downloadable materials will also be published along with the video in a few days. Before we start, I would appreciate if you share your experience of PDF translation. I would like you to use the chat box and let us know the following: which PDF conversion tool you have used most often in your work, and if you do not normally use a PDF conversion tool, for example, you always use the CAT tool directly, importing the PDF file into your CAT tool and translating it this way, or you use some other workflow, for example, you use Trane PDF online service, then tell us whether it is so. And Irina will collect the information and we will share the results at the end of the webinar. And of course, do not hesitate to ask questions via the chat window, and I will do my best to answer them at the end. So let us start. I will now switch to the presentation. Okay, so most project managers and translators make three mistakes when converting PDF files to editable format. First of all, they use a wrong tool for the job. Second, they perform automatic conversion without fixing the issues inside their PDF conversion program before they export to Word format. And third, they do not perform adequate formatting of the resulting Word document before it is translated. And this causes more serious issues during translation inside a CAT tool or during formatting of the final document. So let us discuss these mistakes in detail. The first mistake that many people make is to choose a wrong software program or conversion service which perform automatic conversion and do not allow the user to make adjustments. This includes PDF import filters that are built into CAT tools such as SDL Trados Studio, MemoQ, MemSource Cloud, SmartCat, and others. Some of you may have received Word documents which were converted from PDFs using online PDF conversion tools by some agencies, and you know firsthand what a nightmare such documents may be. Even software programs offered by industry leaders such as Adobe Export PDF or ABBYY PDF Transformer have this problem because they perform automatic conversion. Issues include lots of tags, difficulties in formatting of such documents, and others. And even if you choose the right tool, the second mistake is to rely on automatic conversion within your PDF conversion tool, even if the tool allows you to make manual adjustments. This is just like machine translation. Automatic conversion may be good enough for simple PDFs, but the results will disappoint you for more complex PDFs. For example, If you do automatic conversion with Finereader, which I consider to be the best OCR and PDF conversion program, you may get a Word document that is very difficult to format afterwards. An example is shown on this slide. As you can see, the text near the image is all over the place. A manual conversion always produces better results if you know how to do it, and we will talk about this in a minute. The third mistake is not formatting the Word document properly before it is submitted for translation. Issues include the following: unstable text layout that falls apart as soon as the text expands or shrinks during translation, partially invisible text after translation, tags and incorrect segmentation in your CAT tool. Some of the common issues, such as incorrect paragraph breaks, excessive tags, partially invisible text, and layout issues, can be easily fixed using Trane Suite or custom macros. These issues are invisible in most cases, but they will cause major headaches during translation and post-formatting of the final document. Now, I will tell you how to avoid these three mistakes, and I will share the recommended workflow for converting PDF documents or scanned images to Microsoft Word format. First, we will discuss why I recommend ABBYY Finereader for this work. Then we will discuss how to configure ABBYY Finereader for best conversion results, how to mark content using Finereader recognition area tools, and other things you should pay attention to before you save the results to a Word document. After that, we will talk about common problems that you will encounter inside Microsoft Word and then inside your CAT tool, and how to avoid them. I will then give you a small demonstration of the entire workflow using excerpts from two documents that have medium to high complexity. And finally, I will answer your questions. At the end of the webinar, I will provide a link for you to download the conversion workflow diagram and a detailed guide in PDF format. So why do I recommend ABBYY Finereader? First of all, Finereader is not a simple PDF conversion program. It is also an OCR program. OCR stands for Optical Character Recognition. This is a process that converts scanned text into editable text. This means that you can process normal PDFs, that is PDF documents with selectable text, and scanned PDFs as well. Second, Finereader allows you to define the layout of the document manually by using recognition area tools. And in that way, you help Finereader do the conversion better. We will discuss these in a moment. And third, it supports many languages, and for common languages, it also includes dictionary support, so you get fewer recognition errors. So why should you not rely on automatic conversion inside Finereader? Here are some issues that you will encounter if you trust automatic conversion too much. First, Finereader prefers to use multi-column text layout. Here on the left side, you can see how recognition areas are defined inside Finereader. There are three text areas shown in green. One is a title, and below it, there are names of equipment models on the left and corresponding model numbers on the right. When there are two text areas side by side, they will be converted to two text columns, which you can see on the right side at the top. Our text columns are not the same thing as a table. Multi-column text flows to the end of the first column or until a manual column break, and then continues at the beginning of the second column. And this is not how tables behave. So when the text expands during translation, it is usually difficult to align text in one column with certain text in the second column. At the bottom on the right, you can see what happens after the text expands during translation. Equipment models on the left do not align with the numbers on the right. This case is simple enough to correct by inserting line breaks, but you will have to do this again if you change font size. At any rate, if your customer tries to edit the document, they will not be happy. The solution is to use a table area instead of several text areas. This guarantees that the text in different columns will be aligned even when it expands too much during translation. Second, when there are many text columns and no visible table borders in the original file, Finereader often uses a single text area. In Word, this will be converted into text separated by tab characters. If you activate invisible symbols in Word, which I urge everyone to do when you perform document formatting, tabs look like arrows, and you can see them at top right. After translation, which you can see at bottom right, the text will often become misaligned. To fix this, you will either need to use abbreviations, and this means rework by a translator, and sometimes it is impossible, or you will need to convert this text into a table, spending precious time. To avoid this, all you need to do is use a table area instead of a text area. In Word, you will get a nice table with invisible borders. Again, you will never run into misalignment problems with tables. The text in each column will always be perfectly aligned. The third issue is Finereader's tendency to recognize parts of an image as text. In the screenshot on the left, you see that Finereader decided to convert some text labels as text. And even one bold on this diagram was considered as text and will be converted to strange symbols. In Word, text next to images will be converted to text boxes, and text boxes are very hard to format due to positioning issues and text expansion. Instead, if you define one picture area, like the screenshot on the right, you will get a single image in Word. Even if the text labels on the image need translation, I recommend you to use a single picture area in most cases and translate the image later using one of the approaches covered in the brochure. Automatically, Finereader will always recognize headers and footers which repeat on every page. As a result, this text will be repeated on every page in the Word document. Instead, I recommend to include only the first repeating header and footer and not mark the other identical headers and footers on the following pages. You can read more about this in the brochure. And now I will tell you the solutions to these issues. First of all, before you start working with Finereader, you need to make sure that you configure it correctly. You will find detailed instructions how to set up Finereader correctly in the brochure. The most important settings include the following. Document layout setting must be changed to editable copy, and you need to specify that headers and footers must not be recognized as structural elements. You will find further details about this in the brochure. Second, I recommend you to define recognition areas manually. For this, you use recognition area tools: text area tool, picture area tool, and table area tool. In Finereader, a text area is green, a picture area is red or violet inside tables, and table areas are blue. When you select a table, you will see a special toolbar above the table area. Using the toolbar, you can merge table cells and insert or remove row and column separators. And text and picture area tools also have special toolbars which allow some additional actions. After you learn to do this correctly, you can let Finereader recognize specific pages automatically and then redefine the areas if Finereader makes a mistake. Personally, I prefer to define all recognition areas manually at all times, but let Finereader recognize table structure automatically and correct the results if necessary. So how do you define recognition areas correctly? First, you need to look at the page and in your head, split the page into horizontal bands. Imagine that the content within each band is independent and will shift down if the size of the preceding bands grows. After that, you need to decide how to split each band into recognition areas. For this example, inside band number 1, we have one picture. After that, inside band number 2, we have a table. The first column of this table contains a large merged cell with a picture in it. This is accomplished by marking the cell as an image cell, and this trick is very useful for pictures which are located to the left or right of text. For example, for headers where we often see a logo. Next, inside band number 3, we have two columns which contain text and tables. Finally, inside band number 4, we have a table. Actually, you could use a text area here as well, but a table allows better control of the preceding and following elements, so I often choose it in such cases. I would like to note one important thing about tables. You can see that in this example, I use a table area for something that does not have visible borders. Only one small table here has visible borders. A table is actually anything that has rows and columns that are related to each other. It does not need to have visible borders at all. So if you see text which does not have visible borders but has grid-like structure, use a table. On this slide, we can see examples of such tables with invisible borders in bands number 2, 3, and 4. A table is the most stable layout element, and I recommend you to use tables as much as possible. The only exception to the use of tables is multi-column text of the type you see in newspapers and magazines. This text must be marked as two text areas side by side, and they can also be interspersed with tables, like on the previous slide. As you can see here, I used a table, which is shown in blue at the bottom, to recognize page footer. This is personal preference. For this simple case, I could use a text area, but I prefer to use tables for most headers and footers because they make it more simple to format the document afterwards. More information about dividing each page into recognition areas is provided in the downloadable brochure. After you have marked all the recognition areas on each page, you need to recognize them by using the read command in Finereader. After that, check the following things. Are all the areas recognized correctly? In other words, have they been read into text? Sometimes some parts of those areas will not be recognized correctly or not in the way that you expect them. So we might have to re-recognize those areas. Is the structure of all tables correct? You may need to merge some cells, add or remove column and row separators, or format a cell as an image cell. This is done using the table toolbar. For example, on this slide, we can see a table with a missing column separator and another table where one sentence is split among two cells. After you modify the table structure, make sure to use the read command for that particular table again, otherwise some text will not be recognized. Also, check all low confidence characters, which are shown with turquoise background color by default, and spelling errors, which have red underlines. If you find errors, fix them using the text window of Finereader. Don't wait until the document is converted to Word format. When you're done, export the whole document or selected pages to Microsoft Word format. Finally, the Word document is created. To edit it effectively, you need to make sure that you use correct word settings. First of all, you need to see invisible symbols, which include paragraph breaks, tab characters, spaces, line breaks, page breaks, section breaks, and column breaks. You also need to display table grid lines to see how tables are divided into cells. In that case, invisible table borders will be shown with dotted lines. And you need to understand where fields are located, because some content may be mistakenly converted into fields and not into normal text. Again, this is described in more detail in the brochure, and I will demonstrate it during the demonstration. There are a number of issues you need to fix inside Word before you import the document into a capsule. The first issue is small formatting differences which cause excessive tags in your capsule. Finereader is actually much better than other PDF conversion tools in this respect, but you will still run into tags when using it. Tags are caused by character styles which Finereader applies to some text. For example, to text in bold or italics, and in this particular case on this slide, to the text in bold. And also tags can be caused by small differences in font size inside the same paragraph. The second major issue is incorrect paragraph breaks and line breaks, which occur in the middle of sentences. Obviously, they cause incorrect segmentation inside your capsule and layout problems in the final translated document. This means more work both during translation and during final formatting of the document. The third issue is frames and text boxes. Frames hold text together and expand to accommodate the text inside them, but they do not flow to another page if the text expands. And text boxes are difficult to position correctly and do not expand automatically to fit the text. For example, on this slide, you can see what happens if the text inside a text box expands beyond the size of the text box. The text becomes partially invisible, and unless you fix this, your customer may be disappointed. The fourth issue is excessive tab characters between words, usually in documents where the text was justified on both sides. Tab characters create additional tags or cause incorrect segmentation depending on capsule settings. The fifth issue is false tables of contents. Sometimes Finereader recognizes text as a table of contents incorrectly. I call it a false table of contents because it looks like regular text, but it behaves as a table of contents. For example, you can right-click it and choose Update. On this screenshot, the false table of contents has gray background, which becomes visible if you configure Word as recommended previously. A table of contents is an automatic field which is not imported into capsules in most cases. Even if it is imported by your capsule and you translate it, it may get destroyed as soon as the document fields are updated, which can happen at any moment, both on your side and on customer side. And there are other issues. For example, on the left side, you can see several paragraphs which are merged into one single paragraph. So there is no paragraph break between these paragraphs, as you can see. On the right side, you can see numbers which should be part of the sentences, for example, 2 dozers, 3 excavators, etc., but they were converted into automatic list numbering by mistake. And of course, there are other issues. How can you resolve all of these difficulties? You may have heard about Trane Suite. It is a set of plugins for Microsoft Office products and AutoCAD designed to increase translator productivity. Trane tools includes several tools specially designed to fix formatting issues in Word documents converted from PDFs and scanned images. These tools include Document Cleaner and Unbreaker. And now let me show you how to resolve each issue using Trane tools. First, let's see how we can get rid of invisible or hard to see formatting differences that cause excessive tags. For this work, you need to use Tag Cleaner command located under the first tab of Document Cleaner tool. Tag Cleaner changes the formatting of text without affecting the visual appearance of the document in most cases. This is done according to the options that you can modify. The default options should be enough for most cases, but in some cases, they need to be changed. In the brochure, you will find explanations of each option and the recommended set of options and their settings for Word documents produced by Finereader. In this example, which shows translation editor in MemoQ, Tag Cleaner has removed the tags caused by invisible styles. Another cause of tags is several different font sizes, font colors, or fonts inside a single paragraph. On this slide, you can see selected text which contains several different font sizes. The first line is font size number 7, and the second line is font size 6.5. And this is all part of the same paragraph. A different font size is also evident from the empty font size field on Word's formatting toolbar when the entire paragraph is selected. Tag Cleaner can also resolve this issue automatically if configured correctly. However, I recommend to use a special action of the Auto Format command in Document Cleaner. The action is called Highlight Paragraphs Formatted Using Different Fonts, Font Sizes, or Font Colors. This action applies color highlighting to all paragraphs which have this issue, so you can decide what to do and correct the problems manually. The second issue that we need to resolve is incorrect paragraph breaks and line breaks, which split sentences into several parts. These breaks cause the text to be segmented incorrectly in your CAD tool, and unless you join the segments manually, you will save useless segments in your translation memory. Also, when you export the final document, these excessive breaks will cause formatting problems, and you will need to delete them manually. Unbreaker is a special tool that finds these breaks, presents their list to you, and you can decide whether to remove them or not. The process only takes a minute for a medium-sized document, and you save a lot of time. As I previously said, frames and text boxes present a number of layout difficulties. Finereader uses frames around tables and images, and they can be safely removed, preserving the contents of the frame in the same place. You can do this with Auto Format command in Document Cleaner by running a special action called Do Not Put Text, Tables, and Images Inside Frames. For text boxes, you need to make a decision for each individual text box. For some text boxes, you need to put their contents in the body of the document, and for proper floating text boxes like text labels above an image, you need to position them correctly. The problem is it is not so simple to find text boxes in the document. Again, auto-format command in Document Cleaner provides a helpful action called Clearly Identify All Text Boxes. This action changes the highlight color or background color of all text boxes so that you can easily find them and make this decision correctly. To move the text out of a text box and into the body of the document, you can use a quick action called Text Boxes Move Text Out of Selected Text Boxes. To do so, switch to Other Tools tab of Document Cleaner and then find this action on the Quick Actions tab. To find tab characters between words, use a special action called Clearly Show Where All Tab Characters Are. It can be found within the auto-format command of Document Cleaner. Once these tabs are highlighted with a chosen color, you can replace these tabs with a space manually, or use a special quick action to replace all of them with simple spaces. To find the false table of contents, use the auto-format command. It has a special action called Highlight Tables of Contents. This way, you can find text that looks like normal text, but is actually a table of contents. On the Quick Actions tab, you will find a special action that converts selected table of contents into regular text. Document Cleaner allows you to fix a number of other issues. For example, it can automatically change page breaks and column breaks to paragraph breaks, remove empty paragraphs, fix page size, convert multi-column text to a single column, and do many more formatting things that will allow you to create a document that has correct structure and is suited for translation. Normally, with auto-format command, you choose which actions to run by checking the appropriate boxes, and then click the button to fix or highlight all the relevant issues at once. You can also save your choices to a profile, which can be restored at the click of a button so that you can perform your work faster. You will find a description of all useful Document Cleaner options and actions in the brochure and on Translator Tools website. And now I would like to share with you my recommended workflow. Here's my workflow for converting PDF documents and scanned images to Microsoft Word format using Finereader. You will be able to download this workflow diagram at the end of the webinar. Now I will quickly go through the steps. According to this workflow, you begin by importing the document into Finereader. For scanned PDFs, you can also try to improve the quality of each individual page using the image editor. For example, you can apply brightness and contrast to low contrast pages, and therefore you will improve the recognition quality. After that, you mark and read recognition areas, just like I showed you before. For simple layouts, you can also let Finereader perform this recognition. You can let Finereader mark those recognition areas automatically, but I recommend you to start with manual approach, and as you gain experience, do this automatically in the future. After that, you check for recognition issues. For example, you check low confidence characters, which are highlighted in turquoise. You check spelling errors. You also check whether all the paragraphs are divided correctly. After that, you save the documents or selected pages to a Microsoft Word document. In step 5, you check text recognition errors in Microsoft Word. In step 6, you automatically fix or check and highlight formatting issues in the Word document. You use document cleaner, auto format command, and you use unbreaker tool to remove incorrect paragraph and line breaks. In step 7, you manually format the document. For example, you change paragraph spacing, you ensure that the indentation is correct, you put text back into columns, you put the text into the headers and footers, or you merge multi-page tables, etc. In step 8, you remove excessive tags, so-called tag soup, using tag cleaner. In step 9, you check inline formatting against the PDF by comparing the PDF document with the Word document side by side. In step 10, you prepare the images which contain text on them. And in the final 11th step, you do a quick pre-flight check of the documents in order to make sure that everything is in order. And this means that the document is prepared for translation. And of course, the work does not end here. And after translation, what you need to do is only ensure that all the text is visible. And usually the issue is in text boxes, which do not expand automatically to accommodate the text. After that, the document is complete and you can send it to the customer. Okay, so now I will demonstrate the workflow in action using Finereader and Microsoft Word. So let me do this. Right. Okay. Okay. Here is Finereader. Okay. So the first step in our workflow is to import the documents into Finereader. So I've opened Finereader, and now I choose the document called Demo PDF. Finereader imports all the pages from this PDF file. First, make sure that the document language setting corresponds to the language of the document. We have English here, and the document language is English, so everything is correct. Finereader is already configured correctly in accordance with my recommendations in the brochure. This actually needs to be done only once. The document contains several scanned pages, and we see those scanned pages in page 1 and 2. You can see it's scanned. Actually, here I need to make sure that the image quality is correct, is okay for recognition. And if I think that the image quality is not sufficient, I can click Edit Image, and this has to be done for each individual page. And then I apply certain effects. For example, I can improve brightness and contrast for this page, or I can deskew the page, or I can correct trapezoid distortion. And this actually is something that also occurs sometimes. But because this particular page is okay for further recognition, I will skip this step. I return back to Finereader. And by the way, if you correct the image quality by using this image editor, you need to remember that all the recognition areas that you have marked on that page will disappear after this is done. So do this before you mark recognition areas on a page. The second step is to mark and read recognition areas. Normally, I recommend you to mark all areas manually. If you are new to the manual approach, I highly advise you to mark all areas manually at all times. Do this for the next dozen PDFs to develop experience and knowledge. For simple layouts, you can let Finereader mark areas automatically. I will do this for the first page. Select the first page and click Read Selected Pages. You can see the cogwheel turning, means that everything is been performed, and now I can see that the page has been recognized. So I zoom out and I check the results. First, according to what we talked about, I have a text band at the top which spans the entire width of the page. Finereader used several text areas here, one below the other. This is the same as using one big text area, so it's okay. Second, I have a band with a single image. Third, I have a text area band across the entire width of the page. Next, I have a band consisting of two text columns, which, as we know, will be converted to multi-column text. And finally, I have a text area band at the bottom. Finereader did a good job on this page, so there is no need to correct the results. Let's go to the next page. This time I will mark the areas manually, even though Finereader should do fine here. So let me do this. I choose the text area tool and I select the first column of text. Then I position and I create another text area to its right. Then I make sure that all the text is included in the text area, that no text is outside the text area, because otherwise it will be lost. Actually, so according to what we talked about, there is one band, two-column band at the top, and there is also a band at the bottom, and this could be recognized as a table area or as a text area. But we need to remember that we already have a footer, identical footer on the first page, and in that case, do not create an area around this text, because you will put this text into the automatic footer of the Word document anyway. So you do not need this text. So finally, when I manually mark the areas, I need to right-click the page and choose Read Selected Pages. In this case, Finereader uses my areas and does not automatically create the areas for me. So this page has been recognized. I can see the text in the text window on the right. I can select the text. So everything seems to be correct. Now I go to the third and final page of this PDF file. As you can see, this page is more complex. At the top, we have a band consisting of a single picture. So I will mark the picture area as such. I select the picture area tool and drag the cursor and release the mouse button in the bottom right corner. So I have created the picture area. Next, there is a band consisting of an image on the left and some text on the right. And the text has grid-like structure. You can see that equipment model names are aligned with model numbers. So I will choose a table area for this band. So I have created the table area. Then I select the table area. I can see the table toolbar at the top. I now have to add column and row separators. I choose the Add Horizontal Separator and click in the points where I want to create a division between two rows. And then I select Vertical Separator tool and create two column separators here. Now I can see a problem that, first of all, the first column is divided into 4 different cells, as we can see by selecting the cells or by the cell borders. So I need to select all 4 cells and click Merge Table Cells button on the table toolbar. Also here at the top, I would rather merge these 2 cells together because the text will not correctly wrap otherwise. So I've done it. By default, each cell will be recognized as text. And in the first column, I have a picture. So what should I do? I need to mark the first merged cell as an image cell. I select the cell, go to Area Properties at the bottom, and I check the box called Treat Selected Cells as Picture. Note the purple background as opposed to blue table background. This is how Finereader displays picture cells. After that, and by the way, I need to change the table extents a little bit. Below, I can actually create one big text area across the page just to accommodate the features heading. After that, we have a band consisting of several text areas and table areas. This is on the left, we have a table area, and on the right, we mostly have table areas, but also some of the text may be put in a text area. So I will mark the areas now. For the first column, I create a text area, and I notice that after I create the text area, I can see that near the warning heading, there is an image. So I can actually mark an image area on top of the text area, but not the other way around. So I do it like this. Next, in the column on the right, there is obviously a table area. As you can see, there are some tables here, but I do not create one big table area because the column widths in each table would be different, and I would have to merge a lot of cells in order to create the correct structure. So I create one table area here, one table area here, and one table area in this place. And for the rest, I create text areas. So the tables need to be recognized now in order for ABBYY Finereader to split the table into cells. So usually I prefer to read the table structure automatically using Finereader read command. But you can, of course, also create the column and row separators manually, as I did in the previous table. Choose read. And now I check the results. I can see that basically Finereader did a good job. It actually even merged these 3 cells here. But the only problem I can see is this particular row But I think I can fix this issue inside Microsoft Word. For the second table, I can also click Read. It will recognize the table structure for me. And now I need to check what Finereader did. So here I can see a problem. I can see that one sentence is split among two cells. So I need to select those cells and click Merge Table Cells. Here I think PSI 2000 and PSI 2000, 2500, etc. is also one sentence, so I will merge them. And pulley OD, pulley outside diameter, is also one sentence. RPM could probably also be merged. And here the pressures in bars should also be merged. And US gallons per minute should also be merged, probably here as well. All right, so I've merged the cells in this table. I think it's more or less okay. And I go to the final table in this area. Also click Read. The table structure is being recognized. And here I can also see a problem of one sentence being split into two cells. Here, electric brake HP required. And in the first column, those are three different sentences. After you change the table structure manually, you should usually right-click the same table and choose Read. Sometimes rereading the entire page also does the same, but in some circumstances it may not work. So this is what I prefer to do. And now there is the final text band at the bottom, and I mark it as a text area. And now I have to read selected pages in order to convert the text inside each area to the text in the text window. The third step is to check for recognition issues. Actually, it is better to combine this with step number 2, which we have just gone through. So usually this is what I do as well. I mark and read recognition areas on a single page, and then I check for recognition issues on that page, and only then I go to the next page. During this third step, I check 4 things. That all areas have been recognized correctly. That is, no text is missing in the text window. Also, I check that text is split into paragraphs correctly. I check all low confidence characters, which Finereader marks in turquoise background color. And I check spell check errors right inside Finereader, and I correct them here. So I will now go through each page and show you how. So let's zoom in on, I will decrease the size of this image window and zoom in on the text window. First of all, I can see that there is here, where I have turquoise background, I have a space in the PDF, but no space in Finereader, so I insert the space. Then I check the other highlights, and everything seems to be in order. However, I see a problem. The second paragraph in Finereader was recognized as one big paragraph, but in the PDF, it's actually 4 different lines or 4 different paragraphs, depending on how you prefer to do this. So I actually need to insert paragraph breaks here, here after AG, and that's it. And also, let's go to the bottom, and I see a similar issue in the footer. I can see that the first paragraph ends with the word LLC, but there is no paragraph break in Finereader. So I select the space between the first and the second line in Finereader, and I press enter to create a paragraph break. Actually, if you have noticed, this problem of merged paragraphs usually occurs when the paragraph on the original PDF page is narrow. So you can actually use this sign as a precursor of this issue, if you will. Let's go to the next page. Here, let's first of all, let's have a look at all the spell check errors and at the low confidence characters in turquoise. So I can see that costly was recognized as COSD. So I will correct, sorry, Russian. For fabrication, there is no space between two words. I will insert it. Let's go down. Here, I should have the word must. If I actually increase the size of this window at the bottom, I can see the letter M here. So let's just type must instead. And let's go through the rest. Yeah, actually, I have noticed one problem of the original documents. You can actually delete this number 9 here, but it was in the original anyway. And let's go to the last page to check for recognition issues. Oh, well, seems to me everything is in order, but it's up to you. But you can actually delete the tabs here in right inside Finereader before instead of doing this in Word. But let's just do this in Word anyway. So everything seems to be in order. So let's now save our document to Microsoft Word format. This is step number 4. So I choose File and go to Save Document As and choose Microsoft Word document. I will save it as demo.docx. Microsoft Word has been opened, and now I see what Finereader has produced. And actually, not bad. I could show you automatic recognition results instead, and you would notice the difference. So it's good that we use the manual approach instead of the automatic approach. The 5th step is to check text recognition errors in Microsoft Word. I usually do this as the first step because in some cases, you actually have to go back to Finereader, correct the mistakes, and then export the document again. It's simpler this way. So it's kind of like a second line of defense to check all recognition issues. And also one reason why I do this here as well is because Microsoft Word's spell check dictionaries are much better. And another reason why I do this is because at this point we can see the turquoise highlights and we can notice the mistakes and fix them. And when I use Document Cleaner later, those turquoise highlights will disappear. So it will be more difficult to diagnose the issues. I think that everything is perfect here. Let's go to the sixth step. The sixth step of the workflow is to fix and check formatting issues in Microsoft Word automatically using Document Cleaner, Auto Format command, and Unbreaker. So let me run Auto Format command first. I open Document Cleaner, and I choose the second tab of Document Cleaner. I can see that all the options of auto format are currently in their default state. I have created a profile which I use for processing of documents produced by Finereader. In this particular case, it's called UTIC Webinar. And I choose Load, and all the settings of this profile are now applied. So actually, all the settings are explained in the brochure, so I will not dwell on this here. You can read the brochure. Now I will click the button called Run Selected Commands to execute all the actions. Well, so let's have a look at this. Actually, it looks worse than it was before, but trust me, we are moving in the right direction. The text inside text boxes is highlighted in magenta color, so I will move the text and image out of the text boxes. You can actually see the text box border here. To do this, I go to Document Cleaner, go to Other Tools, and under Quick Actions tab, I choose Move Text out of selected text boxes. And before I did this, I actually put the cursor inside the text box. So I click Run Selected Command, and it has now been moved. Also, there is a problem here. By selecting the image, I can see that it is inside this frame. The frame has to be deleted. So I go to Document Cleaner again, and I choose the default profile, which only has a particular action called Do Not Put Text, Tables, and Images Inside Frames. So I run all these actions, and now the image has been moved into the body of the document, and it's not inside the frame any longer. Now I can see another fragment of text inside the text box, and as before, the contents inside text boxes was marked using magenta color. So I will have to go back to Document Cleaner, go to Other Tools, Quick Actions, and also move the text out of this text box. And when I do this, the text which was moved outside the text box was highlighted in yellow. Now let's go through the rest of the document and see the highlighted areas. Here there is a paragraph highlighted in yellow. It means that the text in this paragraph has several different font sizes, font colors, or fonts. Let's select this paragraph and go to Home, and we can see that the font size field is empty. It means that there are different font sizes, and I can see there is Times New Roman 7 here, and here it's 7.5. And actually, we accidentally spotted another issue which we overlooked inside ABBYY Finereader. It merged two paragraphs inside one. So we need to create a paragraph break between those two different lines. And finally, I run Unbreaker to fix incorrect paragraph and line breaks. I opened Unbreaker. I click Search. It finds all potentially incorrect breaks. Some of them are checked automatically, some are not. I actually need to select the areas. I will see the corresponding area inside the Word document, and I just make the decision where to remove a line break or paragraph break. And I can see that the line break here should not be here. I can see that here I need to remove the paragraph break because it is one sentence, and pull the outside diameter is also 2 paragraphs. I need to make them 1. So I select those 3 particular areas of the document where I need to remove a line break or a paragraph break, and I choose correct document at the bottom. So it has been fixed now. We have finished step number 6. We go to step number 7. This step is to format the document manually using various approaches. So I first have to open this document side by side with the original. So I've opened Microsoft Word in the window on the left, and this is the original in Adobe Acrobat Reader on the right. First, I make sure that all redundant page breaks and section breaks are removed. Let's check this. So there is a section break here, but these parts are from different documents, which I created one document from different documents. So this section break is actually justified in this particular case. So I will leave it. I can see that here I have the footer of the first page, and it actually breaks the text of the first page from the text of the second page. So I select this text together with the page number, and I double-click the footer area, and I insert it here, and I can actually fix the font size here, for example, to, let's say, Arial 10. And I could also insert the page number field, but I would leave it up to you. And where I removed the footer text, I need to remove the paragraph breaks as well. Also, when I have text boxes, I need to ensure that the order of the paragraphs in my Word document is correct, because text boxes may be the text which is moved out of a text box could be moved into a wrong spot. So I quickly make sure that the order of the text inside my document is correct, and it seems to be so. Then I remove the tab characters here. They're highlighted in green. Well, I think I will not finish this. I think you understand what should happen. You just remove the tabs or the multiple dots here. In some places, it's a tab with the leader, with the dot leader, and in some cases, it's just a number of dots. I will also ensure correct indentation, paragraph spacing, and paragraph alignment. And I usually prefer just to select everything in the document and go to paragraph settings. And in indentation, I select 0 everywhere. In line spacing, single. And spacing, you can either choose 0 points or maybe 3 points. Sometimes 3 points works quite well. Yeah, but maybe in this particular case, I'll just select 0. I think it's taken the shape that we want. Now I think I will also fix the margins of the pages. I will choose narrow page margins to fit more text inside the windows. And here I will also select narrow because it's a different section, because there is a section break here. The page margins of this section are different from this section. So you have to select this some text in this page, choose the narrow page margins, and then go to this section and do the same here. So at this point, I see one problem. Here we have two columns of text, and here we have one column. Actually, Document Cleaner removes two columns. It just makes it one text column to make it easier for you to format the document, and then you can create two columns manually. So let's do this. First of all, I have two columns here. They start with the word abstract and end with the word is here. So I select from abstract to is. I go to page layout, columns, and choose 2. And what I could do here is decrease the space between the columns, but it's up to you. And also, of course, I need to change the paragraph spacing before those paragraphs just to make the text look better. And for example, I can select 12 points here, and 12 points spacing is applied. And also on the third page, I have the same similar issue. In the original PDF, I have two columns here, and here it's only one column. So let's do this here as well. I select from the word features to this last paragraph here, which is also on the PDF here. And I also go to page layout and choose two columns. And you can see that it's taking the shape that we want, but I can also decrease the spacing between the columns to fit more text. And I see a similar issue. Why we can't fit all the text is because this table is too big. So I can remove those paragraph breaks like this. And I can even change the font size here just to fit more text on this page. But as you can see, these columns have been fitted inside the window already. But you should remember that during translation, the text will expand. So maybe it's better for you to actually decrease font size here before you translate the Word document. Of course, okay, so at this point, all we need to do is get rid of the highlighting, and we go to Trans Tools, Miscellaneous tab, and select Remove Highlight, and go and click Continue. So the highlighting has been removed. Or you could also, of course, remove highlighting manually using the Home tab. One finishing touch, I would say, is to create a border here. We have a border around the paragraph, and I usually do it just by creating a table with one cell, and I move the text into the table and delete the paragraph breaks. And so yeah, and also, as you can see, there is the footer here, but on this page, this footer is also present. And this should not be the case, because on this page, we don't have this footer. Usually, what you need to do is double-click the footer, make sure that you're on the page where the footer needs to be deleted, and then unlink the footer from the previous footer of the previous section. And when it is unlinked, you can actually remove it, and this will not affect the footer on this page. So I think that's it. Actually, I can already save the document. It's almost all good at this point, but I have forgotten one important thing. It is to remove tags from this document. This should be done as almost the final step after the formatting for some specific reasons, and this is also explained in the brochure. So we now run Tag Cleaner, and I will use the defaults, my defaults. They are somewhat different from your defaults because I saved some additional settings to the default profile on my computer. All you need to do in addition to your defaults is to check this box called Remove Character Styles and leave direct formatting only. So I click Clean Tags, and now all the tags are being cleaned and it looks okay. And finally, in step number 9, we have to check inline formatting against the PDF. Inline formatting is bold, italics, and underlines. So I also check each page against the PDF. Here I don't see any additional bolds. On this page, yeah, I should remove the bold formatting. Probably on the entire, no, not on the entire page, but in specific areas. Well, for example, I select this and deselect bold, and you get the idea what needs to be done. And finally, in steps number 10 and 11, first we prepare the images containing text. And in this particular PDF, we didn't have images with overlaid text, so we don't have to do this. And in step 11, we perform a quick pre-flight check of the documents against the PDF to make sure that everything is correct. And yeah, and I think everything is correct. So the document is now ready. Right, so this is the end of the workflow demonstration. This is only my recommendation of the workflow. Certainly, you are free to change the order of some steps or create your own unique workflow that will combine the best of this workflow and your own experience. So now let me go back to the presentation. Right, so yeah, going back to the presentation. So you can download the workflow diagram and brochure using the following link. This link will also be in the description of the video when it is posted to UTIC's YouTube channel in a few days. Now, let us briefly review the responses to my question about your favorite PDF conversion tool, or if you don't use one, your alternative PDF translation method. Irina, can you tell us what the results are?
Yes, of course. I have some results on the poll. So 50% of our attendees, they use Finereader with manual mode. 20% used Nitro or Solid, but quitted them because of unsatisfactory result. Yes, 10% use TextTrans PDF platform or your services.
Oh.
And 10% use Acrobat Reader.
Okay.
So there are results.
All right. So and now let me answer your questions.
Yes, we have a couple of questions, and I need also to say that we are run out of time of the webinar. So, just briefly, what about secured or blocked PDFs? Is there any chance to proofread them?
Well, actually, there are not so legal websites on the internet which where you can post the PDF and download the unlocked PDF file. Well, I'm sure that they don't actually use the PDFs in any way. But if you are concerned about confidentiality, there are a number of software tools which you can buy and install on your computer, which will unlock the PDF. It's also not very legal what these tools do, but yeah, they exist, and in some cases, it's the only way to convert a protected PDF file.
Okay, thank you. And we have some comment from Facebook. I use background image and then put text in text box inside that or table. Not exactly sure what background image with image different is.
Well, background image is. I do not actually myself. I never used it because you see, Finereader actually its purpose. We are not the audience. Translators are not the audience of ABBYY Finereader. The main audience is various medical companies that scan PDFs or recognize some forms, etc. So some of these tools are created for just to create a Word document that resembles the PDF, but not for translation. Yeah, I never use background image area in my work, but I imagine that it creates a background, maybe a page background. But in any case, it's kind of a pain to deal with this inside Word to make it into a proper Word document, which can be edited by you or the customer.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So as for today, we don't have more questions, but I'm sure they would arise later, so we can just forward them to you later.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, I thank you for the detailed workshop with a lot of cases and a lot of examples, and that's why I believe people don't have a lot of questions, because they had all the answers before. And for now, I tell you goodbye and see you on our next webinars, I guess. And of course, you're invited for the UTICamp this summer. So thank you and see you. And
thanks a lot to everyone as well.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And I have some more information for you. It's about our next webinar. Our next webinar will take place on May 23rd. And we will talk with Sasha Tirahov about the tricks and tips for LSP's websites, so they were visible for MLVs and business partners. The registration is already open on our website. And of course, for our previous webinars, we store all our UTIC webinars and speeches videos in video section on our website, utic.eu. Enjoy them watching for free, of course. And you're welcome to subscribe our YouTube channel. We publish all our videos there, and you'll receive the notifications about the latest updates. And just to stay in touch with us, you can subscribe to our social media pages. We always list them on our video descriptions on YouTube. And also, we kindly ask you to give us some feedback. Here is a form you can see in the chat window. So let us know your opinion about this webinar and about the platform so we could make our webinars better. And we don't say goodbye, as we already meet you soon. See ya.